currently taking AP English right now, and one question that all of us have is, do writers really need to have deeper meaning hidden in everything?
My first goal in writing a book is to entertain my readers and have lots of people die. But sometimes, naturally, themes and elements from your life sneak into your story, but I would never, honestly, never do it intentionally. And I don't think Dickens did either.
Almost everything I think and say and do is mysterious. There's layers to it. My wife's still trying to figure it out. No. It's like, I'm kind of with James on like, a lot of times the deeper meanings, I think that if anything, it's a happy discovery. It's hard to force it into the story. For me, I try to think of it like, if I have conscientious characters facing tough choices, hopefully some cool themes will arise as they struggle with those problems. But it kind of, to me, it kind of has to happen on its own. And maybe once it happens on its own, I can help it along a little bit.
I think most of us are like that. I mean, writing for us, first and foremost, is fun and something we love. Maybe not the first round, but fun comes into the equation at some point. And so I think all of us are just having a good time initially. I mean, of course, we want there to be meaning to it, but we're not setting out to have the instruction take place in college.
If you read my books backwards, there are instructions for you, which you must follow. My books are totally written on the principle of, oh my gosh, I had a cool idea, I want other people to see how cool I am. Look what I can do, me!
I'm very sorry, but some of us do. I'm sorry. Yes, some of us do, and that's why English teachers torture you. And I do. I do think about every single word as I rewrite over and over again, so that if you do read the book 25 times, you might find something new, because that's what I used to do.
I was just joshing you guys, that's what I do too.
Shannon has a master's degree in creative writing.
In my books, the conch symbolizes authority.
I have to ask this question, it's kind of a rule. What is your favorite fruit? Papaya.
Pizza.
Dashner.
At least you finally went public with it.
Fruit, banana. Yeah, there's no way to top Dashner, we're sorry.
Hey, is that seat still open up there?
This girl's gonna be president someday.
What was your favorite book you wrote?
We have another Jessica in the house, all right.
We have a real soft spot for sassy girls. On Dashner's lap. I didn't need, never mind.
You're in.
What's the question? Favorite book we've read or wrote? Favorite book we've written? Dashner.
It's called The Death Cure. It comes out in 6 months.
And for me, probably Fablehaven 5 is my favorite so far, because I like all the adventure, I think the finale. But as a whole, I think I'm most excited about the 3 Beyonders books, but that's hard to talk about yet. Yeah.
For me, it's the new book too.
I don't know what's that.
But it's like your new baby. It
I
hasn't
don't know what's that.
It's like your new one.
For me, it's always the book I'm actively working on. So right now I'm working on a 3rd princess book, and I'm working on a book that comes out in 6 months called Tuesdays at the Castle. And so that's what I'm thinking about all the time, and so I'm just really jazzed about this. So Tuesdays at the Castle will be out in 6 months.
Coincidentally, mine is also Fable Haven High. How in the world do you guys come up with your ideas for the books?
How do we come up with ideas?
That is always such a hard question to answer. I think we were talking about this at dinner. Once you start writing books, you've got way more ideas than you can ever use. Like coming up with new ideas is, I remember I wanted to be a writer and I think I had enough ideas to do it, but the more I wrote and the more I read, the more ideas I have. They come by living, by reading, by thinking, they just come.
For any characters, we want to make them feel as real as possible. So when I write my villains, I try to make an excuse for why in this guy's head, he's doing something that makes sense to him, and something that he wants. And maybe it's because he's after power, or maybe he's conflicted. Maybe he thinks certain elements of what he's doing is good. Like I know, like in Fablehaven, the Sphinx, there's certain things where this guy thinks he's right in his own head in a lot of ways, even though he causes a lot of trouble. So I don't know, maybe that's part of it, is trying to make it an honest person, even though, like, you know, you're honest with that this person maybe could exist, or maybe could think that what they were doing made sense, even though they're a villain.
I think a scary villain is a well-intentioned villain. So I like that. In the story I wrote, Match, the villain is really the society, but it was a well-intentioned society to begin with. And I think that's more interesting to write, and hopefully read. Just build it then.
I imagine my mother-in-law, and that really helps me throughout. It's great.
The Grievers, James. The Grievers.
The Grievers, yes. They look a lot like her, too. I'm totally kidding. I love my mother-in-law. I 100% agree with Allie and Brandon that there's just something fascinating about a villain that you can have empathy for. And when you kind of understand why the villain is doing something, it creeps you out a little bit.
I would agree with that, totally. Those are the most interesting villains, and so sad to say, when I go to write my villains, I end up going like, she's just evil, you know, just evil. She's doing it because she's evil. Which is the most evil thing I ever, like the fruits of the devil. What if he was really tall and skinny and skeletal, you know, like an evil person would be? I don't know, I'm one step away from someone twirling their mustache and going, oh, I have no idea.
I agree. I like my villains. I actually do. I mean, I understand my villains. Like, I'm empathy for my villains. And I actually, in the story, I try to give them opportunities of redemption, and sometimes they take it and sometimes they don't.